Hello, and welcome back to the God the Artist podcast. I'm your host, Morgan McCarver, and today it is just me. I wanted to do a little bit of a recap of the show that I just had in Spartanburg, South Carolina. It was a solo exhibition called Looking for the Light. And to all of you who came out to the show and to the reception, the show was up for a month and I wasn't there the whole time. I know I was only there for the reception, but I just want to, from the bottom of my heart, say thank you so much for coming. That was just such a special time to get to share what I went through and what the Lord did for me during Hurricane Helene with people in my hometown who I grew up with and who've known me since I was born. So that was just really special to get to see all of you guys and see your reactions and how you were able to really connect with my work. Sometimes I think, well, I feel like I know I speak better through my art and through my artist statements than I do face to face sometimes. Um, and that's just how God made me, and I think that that's beautiful. But to do a little bit of a recap of the show from an artist standpoint, I love solo exhibitions. They're honestly my favorite way to show my work because it's longer than just a festival weekend and it's an elevated fine art way of experiencing um, ceramics and porcelain specifically. I seem to fight the battle that a lot of potters fight in that pottery is supposed to be functional, and sometimes it's hard to understand that something ceramic can be useful just because it is being viewed and it doesn't have to be utilitarian like a mug per se. Um, but a lot of my work before Hurricane Helene was very utilitarian, and that series was called The Last of the Wildflowers. Most of my bodies of work that were shown at this show were also in my show in Florence last year, Delicately Strong. There was one piece voted 161 that was not in this current show, just due to the way the gallery was laid out, and it had had its own little feature in art fields as well. So it worked out well that I got to show the other pieces in the show. So The Last of the Wildflowers is my collection of work before Hurricane Helene. And it's really pieces that I've kind of scrounged up that might have been seconds originally that I had kept behind, or I found some in a gallery. They had put them in a closet in a gallery in Tennessee, and I thought they must have sold or something, um, and didn't really keep track of that inventory very well with all of the chaos going on after Helene. And then come to find out, there's a whole closet full of my work that I was able to go rescue, per se, and bring back for this show. So that was really special. I have four wildflower patterns represented. It would be the dogwood, the thistle, the wisteria, and the violet. And those are just wildflowers that I grew up with. And in the Carolinas, I would see them driving to school or driving to work, or I would go play in the woods and find them. And they just also symbolize strength, especially feminine strength. And so the idea is that porcelain looks delicate, but it's strong. Flowers look delicate, but wildflowers don't require anyone to help them grow. God sometimes is the only one who sees them. If they're deep in the woods, we might never even see them, or we definitely didn't plant them. We have no idea they're there, and they still grow beautifully regardless. And wow, I think that's just so powerful. Even now, I'm kind of getting teary and getting goosebumps. I think that reflects the feminine contemporary art struggle so well, in that for history, all through history, women are supposed to be these fragile flowers, and there's a hidden strength under that. And I definitely relate to that with my scoliosis and several physical attributes that make me not very strong physically. It's nice to remind myself that that doesn't mean that I am weak just because I'm not physically as strong as other people. Anyway, moving on. Uh, the next two series that were represented in that show were the Trinity, which was my drawings that I actually did while the power was out. During those 4 days, I didn't have contact with anyone during Helene when the power was out. We ended up losing water, and I had zero phone service to get in contact with friends, family, coworkers. I really was just surrounded by neighbors, which was awesome, but also I didn't know them. So during those 4 days, really relying on God is all I had, and realizing mentally what the battle was to be completely alone in the world. Um, and maybe I'll talk more about Hurricane Helene later. But again, like I said at the beginning, I definitely talk better through my art and through my artist statements. So I hope you were there and got to read them. If not, I have posted them on Instagram and Facebook in the past, but maybe I'll circle back around and post those again. Um, the Hurricane Prayers series is a journal pages essentially that I transposed from my actual prayer journal during the time of Hurricane Helene. Um, I was writing all of these prayers to God because I had endless time on my hands, and I didn't know who else to talk to. There was no one. And so I can't, honestly, I can't even read them most of the time right now. I think it's still too raw, even, um, in 2026, it's a year and a half later. It's still just too fresh. But I know that it's supposed to be public. I know that my words were divinely inspired by God, and they are a conversation with God that other people have had similar conversations and can be encouraged by that. So I love that I'm able to encourage others through my pain, but I don't want to live in my pain and wallow in that. So those pages are really special to me, and I'm sure one day I'll be able to look back on that time, with such thankfulness. And still today, I am thankful that it happened, and I understand that the hurricane in God's eyes was good, because everything He does is good, and He allowed that hurricane to happen to bring about goodness. And I'm so thankful that it made my faith stronger. I'm thankful that it allowed me to kind of pivot into a deeper relationship with God, in a different denomination that I didn't fully expect that was going to happen. And I see the benefits while I still feel the scars. Um, and so those pieces are really special as well. And then we finished up the gallery, kind of walking through at the end with the this little light of mine and the little light series, where the pots, my porcelain has cracks on the outside due to the nature of how I'm treating the pot as I'm throwing it. And the porcelain itself is translucent. And so when I put a light inside of the pot, it shines through, and it shines through the cracks brighter than it shines through the porcelain if it hadn't cracked. And I have photographs of those as well, because you can't really see the light coming through the pot when fluorescent lights are beaming down on you. So, had to get creative there and show it through photography as well. But honestly, that translucence and the light shining through the cracks, that was really the Holy Spirit giving me that idea. When I was coming home from work one day, I got to the top of the stairs and was like, I knew porcelain was translucent. I never had done anything with it. I love porcelain. I only work in porcelain. Um, I love making the crackle pots. Never put two and two together. And now that's all I can focus on, is exploring the light and exploring how the light shines through porcelain and glass and playing with other materials at the moment. We'll see where that goes. Back to the show. I couldn't have asked for a better turnout. I couldn't have asked for a kinder um, gallery manager. Danielle is just so sweet at Mayfair Art Studios. She really does an amazing job, truly supportive and very kind. It was honestly a really amazing experience to show my work in my hometown because I had learned pottery essentially in Spartanburg at the Chapman Cultural Center is where I took my first pottery classes and got that experience. And then went off to college and moved to Asheville. And I've done shows and I've had work in galleries in Spartanburg, but I hadn't had a solo exhibition in Spartanburg since 2020. And we all know 2020, the pandemic kind of put a damper on the reception and all of that. And it was so close to me graduating college that now this reception, it really was just a full heart, full coming together of everyone who came out to support and just really showed their love. And to realize that a lot of these people had been praying for me during and after Hurricane Helene. And I had no idea. I think that's some of the most special things in the world is to know that other people are praying for you and other people are reminding God that you exist and that they're thinking of you. Not that God ever forgets, but just the fact that other people um, are laying your life before God and asking for blessings is just something that's so amazing. I think that we take for granted a lot of times. So I just wanted to say thank you again to everyone who came out. This work will continue to travel the Carolinas. The next time it will be shown will be this coming fall. I believe it's September, October, in Wolf Laurel, North Carolina. So more details to follow about that. I am really excited to show this work again. I would love to show it more and love to be able to share my story with more people, especially those who have experienced something similar and experienced just utter despair um, and trying to wrestle with how do I understand that I have the full joy of the Lord within me while also feeling completely hopeless. Um, because I think a lot of times we as Christians um, turn the story into, well, before I had Jesus, I was allowed to feel all of these bad feelings. But after I became a Christian, or after I gave my heart to Jesus, or however you phrase it, after you became um, a disciple of Jesus, you're not allowed to feel bad feelings. And I think that's so untrue, especially looking back through the Bible and seeing um, like Mary and Martha with their brother Lazarus after he had died, and all of these strong emotions of they had the Son of God present with them, and they still were dealing with despair and asking Jesus, what are we supposed to do with these emotions when we know that this isn't our final home, this isn't our final end all be all, and wrestling with the fact that God only does good, but sometimes good in God's eyes does not equal what we think good should be in our eyes. Um, and so that's a lot of rambling to say. Um, I think that's a lifelong struggle that we all face. I think it needs to be talked about more. I want to encourage everyone listening that God sees you when you feel these feelings and He's not mad at you. And it is not sinful um, to be sad um, and to tell God the truth of what you're really feeling. Um, and what I had to learn, and I think what I wished um, I would have been able to tell myself if I had a time machine and could go back during that time, is that just because you don't hear God how you used to hear God doesn't mean He's not there. And it doesn't mean He's not speaking to you. Um, and I have really had to learn that as we mature in our faith, in our relationship with God, He doesn't talk to us the same. Just how we talk to babies different than how we talk to toddlers, and we talk to 5-year olds differently than we talk to high school students. Um, and God is the same. Like that relationship should not stay at infantile level. That should only deepen, and God is the greatest treasure, and He encourages us to search for Him. And so, if it feels like He's not right there beside you, maybe I just wasn't looking. Maybe I was just focusing on what was around me. And it's easy to say looking back at it, and I'm sure uh, more troubles and disasters will happen again. That's just life. And I try not to focus on what's to come, and I try to live in the moment of now. And I just know that God has given me such special moments of just miracles and just seeing His goodness and His glory, that I can hold on to those moments and say, yes, this is bad now, but remember when God did this. Remember when you saw God show up in this moment. Um, God's real because of these moments, because of your own personal memories. And those types of memories are what gets you through when you don't know what's next. So I just want to, once again, encourage everyone out there. I originally wanted this to be like a recap of the show. And of course, God just makes His presence just full and beautiful whenever it needs to shine. And I just thank Him so much for allowing this work to continue to encourage others in their faith. God sees you and He knows you. If you need anything at all, please reach out to me. I am happy to connect with you. And thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for coming. Keep up with me through Instagram and Facebook, like always. We'll be back next week with more interviews. I hope you're enjoying these as much as I am. And I can't wait to show you what's coming for this summer and this fall. Until next time, bye.